only place for everything Vikings. 6, 1, 2, Vikings.
Welcome back to the 612 Vikings podcast. I am Dustin alongside with Drew as always. The Vikings are off a couple days for training camp, so we thought we'd bring you guys a little bit of a couple of updates at least for your Minnesota Vikings, kind of tell you guys what's all going on. But before we get to that, Drew, how we doing on this fine Sunday night?
We're doing good. Unfortunately, the Vikings training camp practice got canceled today, but just because there's no Vikings football or training camp today, it got postponed to later. Doesn't mean that there's not any news to talk about. So, but yeah, we got some Vikings news on this off day, on a rainy day down in the Twin Cities. So,
I
was gonna say,
think you're alluding to Monday. They canceled Monday night's practice. Today, I think they had a walkthrough.
Okay, yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, because I saw that Bryant McKinney was trying to make his way down there, trying to get a little surprise visit. So it's looking like it's not going to happen for Mr. McKinney over there. But he can come back around another time. So
for those of you that don't know as well, Monday night's Vikings practice has been canceled due to severe weather. I think thunderstorm is supposed to rain all day apparently. So that is now moved to next Monday, I believe, August 12th. So those of you that have bought tickets for tomorrow or Monday's practice, you will be refunded. Tickets do come available for the 12th at 10 a.m. on Monday or tomorrow, whenever you guys see this. So make sure you guys go grab your tickets for that Monday night practice. Like I said, you will be refunded for that. But let's catch up a little bit about your Minnesota Vikings. Outside of the big plays, we're missing a couple people due to injury, unfortunately. So we'll kind of talk about that, give you guys a little injury update, a little injury status for you. And we'll kind of start with on the defensive line. So there's been 3 total people that have left Saturday's practice with a little bit of an injury. One of them we don't really know about, or his timetable at least. So the first one, we'll start with Gabe Murphy, the undrafted edge rusher out of UCLA. I don't remember his injury or if that was ever disclosed, but according to Darren Wolfson, he's good apparently. So whether that's a small little nick or something like that, he'll probably be day to day, or he'll be returning Tuesday, Wednesday, whenever they're back next. So that's good. We also have Jerry Tillery on the defensive line. I guess he will be okay. Major injury avoided, because when he left Saturday, everybody was kind of saying it looked pretty serious. So I believe it was just he got cleated or something like that. So major injury avoided, which is really good for that defensive line group. And then N'Keal Harry, we don't know his injury or timetable or anything like that. Obviously, he's the new wide receiver converted tight end. So, Drew, I'll ask you, what does this mean for these 2 guys on the defensive line to be out? Because I know Gabriel Murphy, he's been kind of sprinkled in with the 2s, and I think a little bit with the 1s as well. And Jerry Tillery, obviously, with the 1s and 2s. So what does this mean for the depth of the Vikings defensive line?
I would say, that you're going to get more of those lower depth chart guys, maybe some late round picks. I know a very popular player, late round guy, is Levi Drake Rodriguez out of Texas A&M Commerce, the 7th round pick. He's basically looks like the guy from Moana. So, a lot of people
Maui.
like him for that. Yeah, Maui. Yeah, kind of our second Eric Kendricks a little bit with that hairdo, but he'll definitely get some more playing time. He's actually been playing a lot with the 1s I've seen. So he's been making his way up the depth chart. I think he's going to get a lot more snaps now that Jerry Tillery will be out, and I think that would come great if it is something where Tillery does have to miss the first game of this upcoming preseason next Sunday. But especially, and on the edge too, you got you said Gabriel Murphy. That one is still yet to be announced or what's going on, but I would say that's more day to day right now, just because we don't really know what's going on. That is one that was also a non-season ending injury, according to Darren Wolfson. So Like I say, it could be a thing where he's going to maybe miss a couple weeks in the preseason, may play week 1 of the preseason, but in the scenario that he doesn't play in the preseason, it just means that those lower edge rush guys on the depth chart, maybe some smaller school UDFAs come in and get some more playing time, and maybe they play opposite of Dallas Turner in the upcoming preseason game, if assuming that Van Ginkel can go.
Yeah, I think Van Ginkel should be ready to go. I don't know if he'll play in the preseason, just kind of due to the Vikings kind of slowly easing him in anyway to training camp and practice and all that. So just to kind of preserve him for week 1, I think that they'll probably keep him out, would be my guess. And kind of give, like you said earlier, the other guys, other rookies to get a chance to play and get some reps, in a quote unquote live game. And kind of see what they have, and we'll kind of see what that defense is made out of. Obviously, they're not going to be scheming or scouting the other team. They're just going to be practicing their plays and whatever, vanilla plays. As we all know, that's how preseason goes. So, and then the other guy that is also nicked up is N'Keal Harry, our new quote unquote new tight end in that room. He is joining Robert Tonyan on that injury list with the tight ends, and I guess TJ Hawkinson as well. But tight end room is looking kind of thin as well. You got Johnny Mundt, you got Josh Oliver, Sammy Reyes, and then Johnny Knox, I want to say his name is.
Trey Knox.
Trey Knox. I don't know why I'm thinking Johnny.
I think you're thinking Johnny Knoxville, the cartoon.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, our tight end room is looking, a little thinner. Like you said before, though, it kind of gives other guys an opportunity to present itself. So, N'Keal Harry, what does that mean for the tight end room? And because I've kind of noticed that in training camp, Kevin O'Connell likes to use his tight ends a lot, and we'll see if that's kind of come to fruition in the regular season.
Yeah, I think for this one, the tight end room I feel is very, very deep right now because of the Hawkinson injury, who we don't really know when he's going to be back. There's some speculate he could be back week 1. I don't know if I see that yet. I think it's a scenario where they're going to try to let Darnold, I don't say fail, but like they'll try to win with him, but they're going to try to make Hawkinson healthy and ready to go for JJ McCarthy to be the guy where there's more of a future with that connection more than a Sam Darnold to Hawkinson connection. So I don't think they're going to rush it with Hawk. I think similar to what they did with the Justin Jefferson hamstring thing. So this tight end room is very, very deep. I know Robert Tonyan's been balling out from what I've seen. Johnny Mundt is really good blocking tight end. I know he gets a lot of love from the coaches. Josh Oliver will probably be the tight end 1. So I honestly think that there's a scenario where they put him on IR to kind of free up a roster spot without cutting him. And I know it's like a sandbagging, essentially. I know they've done it with Blake Prohl multiple times in the past. He's admitted to that in the past, the former American Idol contestant. So very good singer, but I could definitely see there's a scenario with that happening too. Just for the fact that like he's new at the position, and it would also give him more time to learn the true tight end position, because very rarely do guys just switch to a brand new position and then ball out. Like I think the only guy I could think of that's actually done it effectively was probably Terrell Pryor from a couple years ago. And I know Logan Thomas was another guy who switched from quarterback to tight end, but that took some time to really kind of,
Darren Waller.
Yeah, I think
he's a rare example, but
yeah, like those guys are just they're short term, like lightning in a bottle kind of guys, but it still took time for those guys to really just be anything at their position when they were actually playing in those games. So it's not a thing where it's just, I'm going to wake up and then play tight end and then, like I said, ball out. So I could see that being a scenario of that happening too. So that way it frees up a roster spot, and maybe they go and make a move for another corner. I've heard there's a lot of rumors on the cornerback market still that there's still a big name out there that they want, according to Darren Wolfson. If what he is saying is true though. So he is I feel kind of hit or miss at times. I know that I would say he's more towards hit than misses But if there is a big name corner out there, I think Xavier Howard and Stephon Gilmore are still guys that have that connection with Brian Flores that could be a guy that they could get. And I honestly, I probably would lean more Gilmore just for the fact that he's stayed a little bit healthier in his career more than Xavier Howard has. But yeah, we'll see how this all plays out. Yeah, anybody will help. Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I could see that happening where they just kind of sandbag the injury, free up a roster spot, and maybe bring in some extra help in the preseason.
Yeah. And speaking of the preseason, preseason is just this Saturday. It's 6 days away, 5 days away. So super excited for that. We finally get some Vikings football in our lives, the day that we've all been waiting for. And I know it's preseason. After the first quarter, we're gonna be like, okay, this sucks. I can't wait for the regular season. But there might be some added excitement with a guy like JJ McCarthy, playing and playing with that offense, and seeing some other guys as well just kind of get in there and play. So obviously all the excitement's going to go with JJ in the preseason games. And like I said before on previous episodes, me, Drew, and Nick that has been on here before, we're all going to Cleveland. We're going to see our boy JJ McCarthy in person, and we'll get a couple clips for you guys, post them on 612 Vikings, and you guys can see that as well. So what should we expect in the first preseason game? I know we're a little out there. It's still 5-6 days away, but what can we expect in the first preseason game? As far as starters, who will play, who won't play, because Kevin O'Connell likes to rest his starters in the preseason, but with a guy like Sam Darnold and JJ McCarthy kind of quote unquote battling for that QB1 spot, who's the true starter in that scenario outside of the cornerstone guys like Darisaw Jefferson? Maybe Addison won't play, but outside of those guys, who do we expect to start versus not starting in those games?
I would say your big key guys like Darisaw, Jefferson, O'Neal, those key guys. I would say anyone who is a relevant starter on this team will definitely not be starting this preseason against the Raiders. And I do think that they'll get more snaps later on to kind of ease them more into it, so that I could see them maybe at best playing one drive, and that's about it. I know that's what Mike Zimmer used to do too, and he's done it with Kirk as well. They play one drive, that's it. But I hope that it's not a situation where they just sit the entire preseason because you're afraid of injury, because history has shown that if you don't play at the preseason, it's such a long off period. I mean, 3 weeks is a long time. And if you go and you play the Giants are still an NFL team. Yeah, I know they're not best roster, but you gotta have something. Especially you gotta get a win on the board, just to give some sort of life into this team. Because with the guy, teams like the Niners, the Jets, the Packers, and the Lions, like, it's just a gauntlet after New York. So I think you kind of have to come away with a win that week one. So I think playing some in the preseason is fine, but I don't expect them to play right away. More towards they'll kind of backload the playing time. But like you said earlier, with Sam Darnold and JJ McCarthy battling it out, I do think we'll get a healthy dose of JJ McCarthy, because they need to get more on tape for him. They need to see how he actually is in a game setting where your defense really doesn't know what you're running as much, or you don't really know what the defense is per se. Because, if you played sports, you kind of have that backdoor knowledge of what that other side's really going to be running. You kind of know their playbook. You're familiar with what they're looking at. You're familiar with that look. But now seeing it something where it's a completely different look, it's definitely needed, especially with guys like McCarthy who, haven't played any, snaps in the NFL, like at a, professional level yet. But for what I'm expecting, I expect JJ McCarthy to translate his camp success to the preseason. I know the Raiders have kind of built up their defense to be a little bit better than what they have in years past, but I know it will be a little bit different because this preseason, but their depth is really not that great. Like, it's pretty much just Max Crosby as a one-man wrecking crew. Christian Wilkins they just added, so that'll be really good for them. I know their D-line's getting a lot better, but I think with their secondary is really something that is not something to really write home about. They've added some guys. I know Jack Jones kind of came hot at the end of the year. I know he had the pick six against Patrick Mahomes. again, it's one guy. They're really kind of struggling to find that CB1, and I really thought they were going to go after a guy like Terry and Arnold at the draft, and it just happened to be Brock Bowers at that pick. Going best player available. I don't fault
To
them
pair
for
with
it.
Michael Mayer, had that great tight end duo.
A lot of teams are going to more 12 personnel, and I know with Michael Mayer, I think that honestly, I think this will be an offensive shootout. I really do, and I will promise this. I'm going to guarantee this: the Vikings will end their preseason losing streak for this upcoming year.
Hot take.
They have the longest
hot take.
preseason. Yep. They have the longest preseason losing streak in the entire of the NFL, and I think they have the NFL record. I think they're tied for first. If they lose the Raiders, I believe they set the NFL record, which means that we will go and see them play Cleveland. But they will win one game in this preseason. I think they end the drought. So I think it's kind of hard to. Yeah, it's. I mean, but to be real though, it's how can you lose when your quarterback room is that deep? When you have a guy like Darnold and McCarthy and Mullins and Hall are all going to be playing, and I think Jaren Hall's been kind of hit or miss. I know he had a really good game against Atlanta, really struggled against Green Bay, and his O-line really didn't do him any favors in the preseason. But when he had protection, he actually played somewhat okay. And Nick Mullins is he's a veteran. He knows what to do. He'll get the ball moving, push it downfield. So I think the Vikings. I think offensively, this upcoming preseason is going to be really, really exciting. If you really love offensive ball, we're going to get offensive ball, and I think they're going to score a lot of points, especially against this Raiders defense in Week 1.
I think that's what we need to start doing is another series where we start doing our hot takes and stuff, because I feel like that would be really great and engaging content, because we could say stuff like, oh, I don't think the Vikings will ever win another preseason game. Well, actually, are the Ravens still undefeated, or have they lost a game recently?
They lost to Washington, I think, last year. I think Joey Sly kicked the field goal to break their winning streak. So, yeah,
really?
that's done and over with. So,
okay. Well, if anybody's going to start that trend again, it's going to be the Vikings. We're going to start at this year. What was it, like 15 games in a row that they won for preseason games?
I think it was near 20. I think it was like 17. I think it was like 17, 18, kind of in the upper teens to maybe around 20, I want to say. I can get that for you exactly, but yeah, I think it was hovering. It was a lot. I think it was somewhere around there.
So that means on that pace, we're going to have 6 straight years of preseason wins. And I think we can do that with JJ McCarthy, but by the time we get to like year 4, year 5, he's not going to want to start in those games. He's going to be our cemented starter. We don't want him to get hurt. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes. And while Drew looks this up, you let me know when you get it.
So I was wrong. It was actually more. They won 24 in a row.
24.
I know. It's dating. It said it dated back to 2016. So this thing lasted an entire presidency and then some. So when it started, Barack Obama was still our president. So that's how long it took. And it feels like that was an eternity ago, because now we're kind of getting to that second election cycle. But, back when they had that win streak, Barack Obama was still the president, which is crazy to think about because that feels so long ago. So
I feel like that's a good Dustin Baker tweet to tweet out. Yeah, the last time that the Ravens, when they started it, Barack Obama was president, and when they ended it, we're going into our, next presidency election. So I don't know, that's a cool stat to have. It's not Vikings related, but I think the Vikings could start something like that, though. We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we'll still be the losers in the next couple of years. We'll have the longest streak for losing. So, other than that, Drew, did you have anything else you kind of want to talk about, either preseason or training camp or whatnot?
No, I don't think so. I think the only thing I'm really excited for is I want to see JJ play his first snaps against a team that's not the Vikings. And I believe they might have like those like combined training camps where they go and they practice with another team. Joint practices. Yeah. So I think we did it with tennis.
Cleveland.
Yeah, we have it with Cleveland. So I think last year, it was with Tennessee. So, hopefully everything goes good with that. Hopefully we don't get any serious injuries, knocking on wood. But,
I hope some fights happen. I want to
see. I know some. I know some players they like to get into fights to go and hit the showers early to go home. So usually they'll try to do that. I know a lot of times. So, but
it'd be a
yeah.
great fight is Myles Garrett and Will Riker. I want to see them get after it. Throw some punches.
He would get his
Wouldn't
butt
that be
kicked,
fun?
but-
Who?
Yeah.
Garrett would get his butt kicked?
Oh no, Will Riker would get his butt kicked.
Hey, you got to be on the Viking side. Come on.
Yeah. Hey, we got to be real. I mean, the guy smashed another dude with the helmet, so I think Will Riker would definitely lose in that one.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe the whole Vikings team will rally against that, but
Maybe.
yeah, with that said, that's all that we have for you guys today. Just kind of a shorter episode for you guys, kind of giving you some updates. We might be back tomorrow with Sean. We'll see how things all kind of plan out. And then Tuesday, I believe we should have an episode. And then, yeah, we'll kind of go from there. And maybe we'll get one before Saturday's preseason game as well against the Raiders. So with that said, we'll see you guys in the next episode. Make sure you guys go follow 612 Vikings on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and then on Twitter at 612 Vikings. And we'll see you guys in the next episode. Skull Bites.